Hi there, this is Lori of Lori's Happy Stamps, and today we're going to talk about the alternatives for Sweeter With You July Paper Pumpkin 2025. So it makes 8 adorable cards if that's what you want to do with the kit. But I always like to extend my kit, so I am going to talk about how to get at least 16 right off the bat. And in order to do that, you're going to want to cut each of your card bases in half. And since I've already cut my card bases in half, I really can't show you. So I created my own using the stamp from the kit. So let's say this is my card base, which would be a really darling card base. I just stamped a piece of basic white 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, just like your regular card bases. So I want to show you how to cut that and how to cut every one before you even start any project. So what you want to do is you want to cut it. I think I wrote it on the back. I did. You want to cut it 4 inches from the left and 4 inches from the right. And then you want to cut off a 1/4 of an inch here, so you'll have a 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and then you'll do the same thing here. So basically what you get is you get this piece, you get this piece, then you get a piece in the middle that has a fold in it, and don't get rid of that piece because I'm going to show you how to use it a couple of interesting ways. And then you get this piece. I think I don't have them on the right side, but you get the point. It's this piece, and then you get that piece. So basically you have 1, 2, 3, and then you have 2 little slivers. And we're going to use all of those in our projects. You're also going to need some basic white card bases, and so you're going to need thick basic white 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, and you'll need 4 of those to complete my projects today. You're also going to need some basic white that is cut at 4 by 10.5, so you get 2 from one piece of 8.5 by 11, just like the regular paper, but it's 4 by 10.5. And then you want to score at 2 5/8 inches at each end. So it opens up like this, either horizontally this way or vertically, okay? And you need 2 of those. Then you're also going to need a piece of basic white that is 4 inches by 10.5 inches, scored at 4 1/4, 5 1/4, and you'll need 1 of those. So to complete all the projects that I'm showing today, those are the card bases that you're going to need. So go ahead and let me go ahead and get started. Let me show you. The first thing off the bat is I duplicated these in some fashion that look pretty much like those cards. So for this card, I glued my piece onto a piece of Whisper White 8.5 by 11, scored at 4 1/4. I used Timid Tiger that was 4 1/4 by 5.5. And then I had my 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of base from the card. And then I ran it through the embossing machine. You can see it on the back better than the front, I think. Oh, you can see it pretty well there. And then I created the focal point just like the sample card. okay? Then what I did do is I took that center piece and I glued it in here and folded it so it has kind of an interest when you open up the card. So that is card number 1 from the kit. The second card from the kit is this one in the middle, the green. And so again, starting with my card base, 8.5 by 11, scored at 4 1/4. I then took a piece of Granny Apple Green and cut it 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, glued it flat, and then I took my green piece and I stamped the little strawberry flowers on it before I ran it through the embossing machine, glued it down, and then ran it through the embossing machine just like I did the last one. And I'm using the Damask Design embossing folder. And I did it for all 4. So then I emulated this card the same. I just did the same kind of front. So that is card number 2. For card number 3, starting the same way with an 8.5 by 11, scored at 4 1/4 inch piece of white, basic white, thick basic white. I then added sweet sorbet or strawberry slush piece that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I glued my paper onto it that is 4 by 5 1/4. I embossed it, and then I emulated this card. And then I took that piece again and glued it in the middle as I did with all of these cards. So I think that makes a fun card. And then the last card, I used the Poppy Parade and I glued it onto my card base that is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then my piece that is 4 by 5 1/4, I ran it through the embossing machine, and then I emulated this card. And then again, on the inside, I used that piece of folded paper right in the middle to make it interesting on the inside. So those are the 4 cards that are most like the kit. So then let's go on to my alternatives. So if you are a member of, if you subscribe with Paper Pumpkin through me, then you should have received an envelope like this mailed to your home. And in it, you're going to find some additional supplies. You're going to find some die cuts from the Circle of Seasons dies that go with the kit. You're going to get some pieces of cardstock that are going to be used on the front of your cards. You're going to get an extra little die cut for one of the cards. You're going to get a couple of pieces of paper that can be used this side or this side for envelope backs when you run out of the envelopes from the kit for the flaps. So that's in the mail to you. So if you are looking for someone to subscribe through for Paper Pumpkin, send me a message and I'll be happy to get you going. So this is what I do with my kits. I always take the printed piece and mount it on a piece of cardstock and then put packing tape on it, and then I add my stamps so I can easily see what I have and if one of my stamps is missing. So the first card I am going to highlight is this card. And I love this card. It's got a lot of color and interest, lots of stuff going on with it. And it's embossed with the mini corrugated embossing folder. Looks like this, the mini corrugated embossing folder. And the texture is just spot on. And then on the inside, I've taken those 1/4 inch strips and I've glued them, all 3 of them, right there. So, so for this card, I am covering my own envelope flap because we don't want any naked envelopes. And for this card, you are going to need a piece of thick basic white that is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. You will need a piece of Poppy Parade that is 4 1/4 by 5.5. And then you are going to take your 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of card front, and you're going to cut them to 1 1/4 by 5 1/4. So if you just cut one strip with all 3 in your trimmer, you're going to have plenty. And you cut that 1 1/4 by 5 1/4. And then you're going to cut those into little pieces that are 1 1/4 by 1 1/4. And you're going to get, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of them. And so you get 12 altogether, and you're going to use them. You're also going to need a strawberry from your kit, or stamp your own and cut it out like I did here. And you're going to need a sentiment, love you lots, and this is the pink from the kit. And then you need those 3 strips. So all you're going to do really is take your piece of Poppy Parade, and you're going to take 3, 4 actually, 1, 2, and you're going to put them in some kind of repeating pattern. So this one I am just laying out here. You want the edges to be at the edge, at the top and the bottom, and then you just want these kind of equally spaced. And just don't worry about them right now, just lay them out. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take 3 pieces that are again in the same general pattern, and you're going to put them on the right side, and you're going to have some little space here and here, and that's okay because you're going to cut and add. And then you're going to do the same thing on this side. So there, and here, and here. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take this one and glue it down. And this one, well, you want to do it opposite. So you'll do this, and then this one. and glue them down, and then you're going to trim off the extras and you're going to add them on that either side of the other side. So what you get is a pattern. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, then I did 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then I added this one and this one, cut this one off, took the extra and glued it up here, glued this one on, cut off the extra and glued it down here. So that's how you do that card. And then you run it through the embossing machine. And then after you've run your red piece through the embossing machine, then you glue it onto your card base. Then you take your 3 pieces and glue them on the inside. So I like that card a lot. So that is card number 1. And if you would like, you actually can make 3 of those cards from 1 card base. So that's pretty economical. Well, from the 3 card bases, so cut up. So that's pretty economical and lots of fun. So that is card number 1. Card number 2 is, looks like this. And again, you're going to use the 8.5 by 5.5 inch piece of white. So let me show you what you need for this card. You need the thick basic white. Then you need a piece of Granny Apple Green that is 4 1/4 by 5.5. You need your piece of green that has already been cut down to 4 by 5 1/4, and you're going to put your strawberry flowers around the edges. You're going to need this piece from your kit, and you're also going to need this piece. And what I did is, you'll notice this is the whole piece, right? These make the whole piece, and I just cut it up the middle. So this one faces to the right, this one is going to face to the left, and that's absolutely fine. You're also going to need one of your strawberries from your kit. And then using the dies that go with this kit, you need one of the hellos cut out in Sweet Sorbet. So you just layer them up. The white is bumped up on dimensionals. Everything else is flat. And then I took a little bit of one of those 1/4 inch strips and glued it on the bottom for card number 2. I hope you like it. And then for card number 3, we're going to make a card that looks like this. And it opens up like that. Opens top and bottom. So to make this card, I also made my own envelope for this card. So for this card, you are going to need a piece of that white that is cut 4 by 10.5 and scored at 2 5/8 top and bottom. So it opens up like this. Then the actual base is going to be 4 by 5.5, and that's going to be glued straight on there. And then you're going to use one of your card bases that is cut in half at 2 5/8. So you actually can make 2 cards from this card or another card. So you're going to glue that one on the top, on the bottom, like that. Then I am using a circle that is about a 3-inch circle, and it's included in your kit if you are a subscriber of mine. And that's going to be glued to the top only. you're going to need one of the Hello Friend pieces and stamp it, and that's going to be bumped up on dimensionals on that circle. You're going to use one of your strawberries from the kit bumped up on dimensionals, and that's going to go on the strawberry or on the circle, kind of hanging off of it. And then you're going to glue that white flower on top of that. You are using one of your 1/4 inch strips that'll go right across the top. Isn't that a darling card? I just love this one. And so like I said, you can make 2 of them from your one card base. So again, a fun card that anybody would like to receive. So the next card uses a couple other little techniques, and the card looks like this. So you're going to need that piece that is 10.5 by 4 scored at 5 1/4, and you're going to glue it onto a Daffodil Delight card base. You're going to make your own basket out of some designer series paper that you have around, and then you need a couple of your strawberries and your strawberry paper. So let me show you this card. So like I said, you're going to need that 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch piece of Daffodil Delight for your base. Then you're going to use that white piece of paper that is 4 by 10 1/2 scored at 5 1/4. And that is going to be glued on to your card base just like that. Then you're going to take your card base that has already been pre-cut, that is 4 by 5 1/4, and you're going to cut it in half at 2 5/8. 2 5/8. So then you get 2 pieces that look like this. That's going to be glued to the bottom here. And then what I did is I wanted more of these cute berry baskets. So this berry basket, I am using this paper, it's called Fruit Salad, on the back. It has a really cool design on it that's very small, and I put it right at the top, and I traced around it and did it twice so I can get 2 of those. And then with the extra piece, I'm going to cut it in half and use it for a different card down the line. So you need to do that. Then you just, I stamped my Life is Sweeter with You on the big pink strawberry and glued this strawberry right on it like this. And then I glued that to the back of the basket and then bumped the whole thing up with dimensionals. So another fun card that I think you will enjoy making. Oh, I added that 1/4 inch piece at the top. I think we talked about it to begin with. All right, and then it opens, like I said, this way. And I didn't put anything left yet in it, but I have plenty of little strips that I can add to the inside if I want to. The next card is going to use those 2 pieces of 3 by whatever they are pieces from your designer series paper that you just cut, and we're going to make this card. So those are those 2 pieces. And so for this card, I made my own envelope again. For this card, you're going to need a thick basic white, 8.5 by 5.5, scored by 4 1/4. You're going to need a piece of Timid Tiger that is 4 1/4 by 5.5, and that's going to be glued flat onto the front. And then you're going to do the same thing with your card base that is 4 by 5 1/4 that you've cut down. So that's going to go right on the front like that. And then you're going to use one of the die cuts from the Circle of Seasons. And then you're going to use one of your, and that's going to be bumped up on dimensionals. You're going to add your strawberry from your kit, and it doesn't matter which strawberry you use. And I thought I had, I guess I didn't. Then you're going to assemble your strawberry that is again from the Circle of Seasons die set. So you're going to glue those two on top of each other, and they're going to be glued onto your circle flat. And then you're going to add 3 flowers from the kit. And I guess I didn't include mine, so I'm going to have to make some for this one. So again, you can make more of the flowers from the Circle of Seasons dies. Then use one of your sentiment pieces and stamp "You're the Best." Those 2 pieces that were from that piece that we cut the berry baskets from, I glued those top and bottom here. And then I added the little 1/4 inch piece on the inside panel. So that is your next card. I have to remind myself to make some more flowers. Okay, and the next card is looks like this. And this time you're going to need one of those pieces that fold towards each other, but we're using it horizontally this time. And so for this card, you need a piece of Pool Party that is 4 1/4 by 5.5. That'll be your base. Then you need that piece of white that is 4 by 10.5, scored at 2 5/8 on either side. You are going to use one of the pieces from your kit that looks like this. You're going to need this piece from your kit, and I stamped it "Thank You." You're going to need a 1/4 inch strip, and then a 2 5/8 piece of this paper that's going to be glued to the left-hand side. You're also going to need a large strawberry, and since I didn't have a red one now, I'm going to use a pink one. You're going to use a strawberry for the outside, and I think I put a strawberry, no I didn't. I wanted to put a strawberry on the inside, so I'll put a strawberry on the inside as well. Then you need 3 of your flowers from the kit, and you need 2 of the flowers that I die cut for you. And to put that together, you're simply going to glue your card base onto your, the white piece onto your card base. And then you're going to glue your pink piece on the left-hand side flush. Then you're going to overlap the blue piece, the striped piece, and you're going to glue it halfway on this side, and then it'll be halfway on that side when it's closed, but don't glue it. Don't put glue over here. Then you're going to build your front, so you're going to glue your thank you flat. This is bumped up on dimensionals. This is bumped up on dimensionals. This is bumped up on dimensionals. This one is bumped up on dimensionals, and then this and these two are flat. Then I used one of those 1/4 inch strips and glued it on the inside. So that's how you do that card. And we're winding down. I hope you find some inspiration this month. There are so many cute things. This is the last official card I want to share with you. And it looks like this. I think it turned out so cute. And again, because of your panels, you can actually make 2 of these cards with your supplies with only 1 panel. So for this card, you're going to need one of your thick basic white 8.5 by 5.5 scored by 4 1/4, and then on the front, on the top, you are going to cut from the right side 2 inches in. You're going to slice it off because you're going to turn it and it's going to become your front piece. So you're going to cut at 2 inches here, and then you're going to flip it. So this is 2 inches by 5.5 from that piece of garden green cardstock, and then you're going to stamp all over it. You're also going to need one of your strawberries, or to cut one of your strawberries out, which is what I've done now. I'm all out of strawberries. And then you're going to need a 1/4 inch strip from your pieces as well. So all you do is stamp this and glue it onto your front panel flap. You are going to stamp a strawberry on your inside lower right. You're going to stamp 2 strawberries on your strip that are closer to the left. You're going to stamp your thank you, and then the piece that is left over, you're just going to cut it off. So you're going to cut off right so your piece is flush with your card base. So that's the way the card, actually, that's the piece that you have. You stamp, stamp, glue, and then you cut. Easy. Okay. And then I bumped this one up on dimensionals, and then on the inside used that 1/4 inch strip. So the last thing I want to share with you is just an idea that I have that is not fully developed yet, and it might be by the time, I know it will be by the time we meet on August 1st for our Zoom party, which is another perk that you get with subscribing through me. I not only send you your bits and do this video for you, but then I also host a Zoom party the first Friday of each month at 10 a.m. Pacific time, so that we can put them together and chat. It's always a lot of fun. So this is the last thing, is to make my fun little charms. And what I did is just take a piece of white paper, stamped on my strawberries, added the stems, and then used packing tape over them so they become shiny. And I'm going to cut them out, and they're going to be hanging on something. So they will be on some card with some kind of hanging fancy stuff on it. So I will post those either on my Facebook page or on the Paper Pumpkin Fan Club page. So hope you have fun with this kit. I sure did. I've used it all. Take care.